Hi, Alicia. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Before we get started, I wanted to get your consent for this 10-minute interview. I do want to remind you that this is not a counseling session, so we do need to be careful that the content that you share is not so emotionally heavy that it leaves you in a place of discomfort. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, and then I also wanted to go over my confidentiality statement. So basically, everything you say will remain between you and I. There are a few exceptions to this, is if I believe that you have the potential to harm yourself or others, I would need to let someone else know. Also, this video will be viewed by my instructor on YouTube, but it's going to be listed under unlisted on YouTube. That way, nobody can see it except for my instructor and myself. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. So the first question that I wanted to ask you is, can you describe what the early days of the pandemic felt like to you?
So when we first found out about the pandemic, I was actually in California and I was a freshman in high school and they told us, we're gonna have school canceled for like 2 weeks. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously as freshmen, we're so happy, like no school.
Yeah.
But then as they kept progressing, laying off school, I kind of did have thoughts like maybe I'm gonna get behind or what happens to our classes.
Mm-hmm.
And I did kind of get overwhelmed because I didn't know how to do the whole online process, like using Zoom or we were using Teams as well. So that
Mm-hmm.
kind of overwhelmed me a little bit, just the process of moving from in person to online, just because I was never like introduced to it and we never did it like when I was in elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
So that made me feel a little bit stressed and overwhelmed. And even with like the news of COVID, that also kind of gave me a little bit of a scare because there was a lot of news outlets that were saying like people were dying, and that kind of worried me for my family as well. And I would say pretty much I was overwhelmed with the whole situation.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely sounds like being well, COVID being a new experience for everybody, it definitely sounds like it had you feeling, like some anxiety. At first, probably relieved that you had no school, but then as it progressed with some anxiety and like overwhelmed and even like scary for yourself and your family. Um, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced during COVID?
Some of the biggest challenges was probably being home and just eating. Like for me, I think I gained weight from it actually.
Hmm.
And I never really like saw it because it was just I was always at home, like I never went out. And then when
Hmm.
we started hanging out with um like friends and family members, they would tell me like, "Oh, you got a little bit chunky, like your face looks fuller." And that kind of hurt my feelings, but I've always had like a full face. But they said
Hmm.
like, "No, you got a little bit like you gained a little bit of weight," which was a little bit of a like upsetting. But
Yeah.
then it kind of clicked to me like, yeah, I've just been eating and sleeping and we've been at the house. We can't really go anywhere. Um, but that was one challenge. And then also grocery shopping, like we didn't go grocery shopping as much. We had like everything delivered and delivery fees are not cheap. So I think for our family we had to like make sure we get necessities and not just a whole bunch of junk food.
Yeah. Oh, okay. It sounds like that must have been a little difficult with people calling out your weight gain.
Hmm.
I know that, I mean, there wasn't really much to do during COVID, so that must have been difficult, just experiencing that, especially because I remember like the gyms were closed and, like everything was closed during that time. So I'm sorry you felt that way. And I could only imagine how expensive like the fees for the delivery services must have been. I do remember also during COVID that I think you were like a lot of the grocery stores and just mainly everything just made it so much harder, with having to maintain distance from everybody. So I could imagine how that must have been very difficult for you,
Hmm.
like physically and financially.
Yeah.
Um, So when did you first realize that COVID was going to be like disruptive in your life?
I realized I think within a couple months that they were telling us that we were all going to be quarantined, and it hit me that we were just going to be staying at home. Everything was closed, and like you said, all the gyms were closed. A lot of like, that you had to wear masks. That was very life-changing because I was never like nobody wore masks unless you're a doctor or nurse, but nobody wore masks anywhere. And that was just different because you can't really see. And when you meet people, you're just kind of like always figuring out, I wonder like what this person looks like. So the mask
Yeah.
thing, it was very different. Having to wear a mask 20, like every time you went out kind of sucked because it's just like there's no interaction with people. It was just kind of like you just see like their eyes and you can see like people's eyes and just I kind of imagine, oh, maybe they're having a good day or bad day, but you never will know because of the mask.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that was one of the biggest challenges I think for everybody is just having to wear a mask now because it is out of the norm. Like you said, like normally you would only see it like in a hospital setting, with like a doctor or nurses. So I can definitely understand how that was a big difference for everybody, like having to go everywhere and always having a mask with you, not being allowed even in a store or like any type of facility without a mask. So, yeah, that was really difficult. Um, what coping skills or strategies did you find most helpful?
The coping skill that I found more, well, that I learned from
Hmm.
COVID was probably being able to manage like my time wisely on like homework assignments because we
Hmm.
were online. So I definitely learned how to stay on top of my assignments. I even bought like planners to like write down all the assignments I need to do, what days I will be working on stuff. And that helped me a lot with my organization skills. I feel like that was definitely something that I still do to this day. So learning that like during COVID, since we're doing all of this online stuff, has definitely helped me like in my college years now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. Sounds like you learn how to be more disciplined with your time management and became creative with, learning how to manage your time and then how to, plan using the planner, like you mentioned. I think that's a really good skill to have learned and that now you've continued to apply during college and, in your life. And then I feel like even moving forward, that's something that's going to continue to help you throughout after college and then within your career. So I think that's a pretty cool skill that, you learn while coping in with COVID. Did you discover any new ways of staying connected with friends or family while being physically apart?
Um, well, my family, we kind of still did like family gatherings, even though we weren't supposed to, but have a lot of cousins and uncles and aunts. So we did still meet. We just didn't meet like at parks how we used to. We just all met up at my grandma's house. But my other grandma from my dad's side, she uses WhatsApp.
Hmm.
So we would like FaceTime with her, just check how she's doing because she's old. And we always just made sure, like once a week, that we called and just to make sure that all of our family members are healthy. So we just use like WhatsApp and we still gathered as a family.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that you were able to maintain your connection with your family even during this crisis that we were experiencing. It's good that you were able to maintain, your time with them, still doing family gatherings, even though they say you weren't supposed to, but I know a lot of people did it. So that's really
Mhm.
important that at least you were able to do that. That way you didn't really feel like alone during that time. So I think that's really important. And then, what did you learn from the experience?
From the experience, I learned to not take your health for granted. That was definitely the biggest thing that I took out from this experience, to make sure that I try to eat like a little bit healthier, to wash my hands more during like the day, and just to take care of my health more and to spend time with family members because we never know when it will be the last time we see them. So I think that's what I took from COVID is just to be more um to stay on top of it with your health and make sure that you see your loved ones.
Yeah. Oh, that's really good. That you took that ex from this negative experience during COVID. Well, I'm really glad that everything, that you went through during this time, you were able to, how can I say it? Like, learn from it and, from this negative experience. And I'm glad that, you overcame this challenge of COVID. And I want to thank you for taking the time to meet with me today. I really do appreciate the time you took out of your day. And that concludes our interview today.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.